Hey guys, WWE Hell in a Cell 2018 went down tonight, and it capped off what was a very good Sunday for Cincinnati. The Cincinnati Reds defeated the Chicago Cubs 2-1. SC Cincinnati defeated Toronto SC2 by a score of 4-3 in a thriller. And all we needed was Hell in a Cell 2018 to be a very good show, and it was just that, in my opinion, the best wrestling show for WWE of the year so far. So let's hop right into it. The first match was on the kickoff show. It was New Day defending their SmackDown Tag Team Championships against Rusev Day. This was a very entertaining match. Anytime you have talent like the New Day along with Rusev Day and Rusev and A in English, you're guaranteed to have a very entertaining, quality match. That's what these two teams delivered for the kickoff show. I did not like that it was on the kickoff show with it being a title match. I felt like it should have been on the main card, but that's for another time. But yeah, so the match itself was really good. And they kind of teased the tension a little bit again with English and Rusev possibly breaking up, as in the end, New Day got the win over Rusev Day. So New Day still the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. As I said, I think Rusev and English are going to part ways eventually, and for New Day, I think they could move on to another tag team on the SmackDown brand. I would like to see them possibly revive that feud with The Bar coming up at the next pay-per-view. After that, the official Hell in a Cell card got underway, and you could not have asked for a better match to start the show. Randy Orton taking on Jeff Hardy inside Hell in a Cell, and oh my gosh, this was one of the most brutal Hell in a Cell matches I've seen in recent history. There were a ton of cool spots. Randy Orton was bleeding from his back and his leg. There's a part where Randy Orton dropped Jeff Hardy on an inverted ladder. It looked like it might have shattered Jeff's ribs. Randy Orton found a toolbox, took a screwdriver out of that toolbox, put it inside Jeff Hardy's ear gauge and started twisting his lobe around with it. It looked painful. In the most insane spot of the night, there was also a spot where Jeff Hardy hit a swanton bomb on a chair onto Randy Orton. But the most insane spot of the night, Hardy has Orton laying on a table. He has two ladders set up in the middle of the ring. Inside the cell, it looked like he was going to try and leapfrog him. Obviously, there's not enough room between the ladder and the top of the cell, so instead he climbs on top of the ladder, monkey bars his way across the cell, and is swinging back and forth and prepares to just drop on Randy Orton. Orton moves off the table. Hardy crashes and burns big time through the table. Randy Orton just then pins Orton pins Hardy, gets the win, and yeah, that was the end of the match. Crazy, brutal, painful, spot-filled match to start this show. It was a fun match to watch. Definitely one you want to check out. And Jeff Hardy took an insane bump, dropping from the roof of the cell through a table and eating the mat below. As I said though, Randy Orton gets the win, and I don't know if they're going to continue this feud. They may give Jeff Hardy some time off, which he would have deserved, but I would like to see these two guys continue. They kind of revisited this feud they had from 2008, which was good. This has been just as good. I'd like to see them move forward with it. After that, it was the SmackDown Women's Championship match. Becky Lynch taking on Charlotte. This is another good match. Charlotte and Lynch have good chemistry in the ring. It's a new dynamic with Lynch being the heel, and the crowd was in Lynch's corner throughout the entire night, as was I. And she finally got the win. She managed to counter a spear by Charlotte, and defeated for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Great match, fun to watch. Very cool spot to show that Lynch is fully embracing this heel role. Charlotte goes to shake her hand at the match. Lynch just waves the belt in her face saying, "I'm the champ," and yes, she is. Very happy to see Becky Lynch as a champion. I think this is going to continue out through Survivor Series, and after that they'll part ways, and I'd like to see Lynch carry the belt, possibly to WrestleMania, as I feel like she is killing it as a heel so far. Next match on the card was the Raw Tag Team Championship match. Dolph Ziggler and Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre defending their belts against Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, 2/3 of the Shield. In terms of wrestling, to me, this was the wrestling match of the night. Best match on the card. Debatably with the first match and this match. In terms of Spot Fest, it was the first match. In terms of wrestling, it was this match. Very, very fun match. I had no idea who was going to win throughout. There's a ton of cool spots, but in the end, it was a very sick sequence. So Rollins gets to tag on Ambrose. He goes up to take on Ziggler. Has him in for a superplex. About to transition to the Falcon Arrow. Drew McIntyre comes in the ring, hits the Claymore kick on Rollins as he has Ziggler perched above his head, falls down. Ziggler lands on top of Rollins, and Ziggler's like knocked out at this point, but Ziggler lands on top of Rollins for the pin, and the unconscious win, so they retained their Raw Tag Team Championships. But it was a great match. All 4 men looked great in the ring. The story throughout was good. The in-ring action was good. The transitions from spots was fantastic. Just a great match. Definitely watch this match if you didn't watch the pay-per-view, because it was fantastic. Really, really solid match. Ziggler and McIntyre get the win, but these two teams are going to have a rematch for the Raw Tag Team Championships later on down the line. After that, it was the WWE Championship match, another solid match. AJ Styles and Samoa Joe going at it. Not as good as the other matches, but it was a very good match throughout, in my opinion. In the end, they kind of flashed back to WrestleMania 8, Bret Hart versus Roddy Piper in terms of the finish. Joe had the Coquina Clutch on Styles. Styles managed to counter and kind of roll over Samoa Joe for the pin. Ref counts to 3, so Styles retains the title. However, upon further review with a different camera angle, you see AJ Styles actually taps out while the ref is counting to 3. So it was a debatable finish, and it turns out later in the night that the general manager Paige announced that at Super Showdown in Australia, it will be AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe again for the WWE Championship. So this feud is not over, but a good match regardless of the fluky finish tonight. After that, it was Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella taking on Miz and Maurice. I wasn't a fan of this stipulation mixed tag team match. With the story and the history that Daniel Bryan and the Miz have back from Bryan's days in NXT in 2010, I felt like this would have been a perfect match to be inside the actual Hell in a Cell structure. Instead, they went with a mixed tag team match with Bryan and his wife versus Miz and his wife. It was a funny match, entertaining. It wasn't an in-ring spectacle by any means, and in the end, Maurice actually pinned Brie Bella to get the win. So there is the door is left open for Bryan and Miz to continue this rivalry, as neither one was involved in the finish. I would like to see them have like a definitive end. I thought the Hell in a Cell match could have been that, but it looks like WWE is going to extend this even further. I would like to see them focus back on Bryan versus Miz and kind of remove Brie Bella and Maurice from the picture. But for tonight, anyways, Maurice pinned Brie Bella for the win. And so I think this rivalry between Bryan and Miz is definitely going to continue. After that, it was the Raw Women's Championship match. Ronda Rousey defending her title against Alexa Bliss. This was probably the worst match on the card. It was still okay, but nothing too special. Alexa Bliss actually got in a decent amount of offense, but she was not enough to overpower Ronda Rousey. Rousey, of course, got the win, makes Bliss submit, and is still the Raw Women's Champion. I feel like they have kind of played out this feud between Rousey and Bliss. I'd like to see if Nia Jax comes back tomorrow on Raw, if they would do a rematch, possibly build that up to Survivor Series as a big Women's Championship clash, or perhaps have Natalya turn on Rousey and have them to go at it for the belt. But as I said, tonight, Ronda Rousey is still your Raw Women's Champion by defeating Alexa Bliss via submission. After that, it was the Universal Championship match inside Hell in a Cell. Braun Strowman was cashing in his Money in the Bank contract, challenging Roman Reigns for Raw's top prize inside Hell in a Cell with Mick Foley as the special guest referee. The match itself was fun. Not as good as the first Hell in a Cell match, but in terms of action in the ring, it was fun to watch. Mick Foley kind of had a botch where Strowman chokeslammed Roman Reigns and he counted to 3. He said it was only 2. His hand clearly hit the mat 3 times, but the match continued. There were some cool spots. Reigns speared Strowman through a table. Strowman was going crazy on Reigns with these steel stairs, and then Roman Reigns hit Strowman with a kendo stick that did nothing to Strowman. Strowman just picked up the kendo stick and snapped it over his leg. But the real fun stuff did not happen until once Strowman and Reigns had pretty much knocked each other out in the ring. Ziggler and McIntyre were trying to get into the cell. Ambrose and Rollins come out and make the save. They're fighting. Eventually, all 4 of these guys make their way to the top of the cell. Ambrose brings a kendo stick up there and is going crazy on both Ziggler and McIntyre. Ziggler and Rollins begin to climb down the cell. They're slamming each other's heads onto the cage. Both fall off the side of the cage through the announce tables below, reminiscent of the Dean Ambrose Seth Rollins Hell in a Cell match from Hell in a Cell 2014. And then, just when you thought all the chaos had ended, Brock Lesnar shows up from out of nowhere, kicks the door into the Hell in a Cell structure, and starts obliterating Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns with pieces of table. He F5 Strowman, picks up Roman Reigns, F5s Reigns on top of Strowman, leaves, match ends, and then no contest because of Brock's interference and both competitors being deemed unable to continue. So looks like this feud is far from over. You got McIntyre and Ziggler versus Ambrose and Rollins, along with Strowman versus Reigns. Now Brock Lesnar thrown into the mix. It was a crazy, unexpected ending to Hell in a Cell, and it was a fun show to watch throughout. So Raw is definitely going to be must-see TV tomorrow. Definitely check it out to see the fallout from Hell in a Cell 2018. If you didn't watch the show tonight, I highly recommend watching it. As I said, best show WWE has put on this year, in my opinion. The two matches you definitely want to watch: Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy inside Hell in a Cell, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler for the Raw Tag Team Championships. And definitely check out the end of the Hell in a Cell match to see all the chaos that unfolded. And that's all I got for you. If you liked it, feel free to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. Check out my website, cincyfanzone.blogspot.com, and give me a follow on Twitter at Cincy Fan Zone. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Check out Hell in a Cell. You won't regret it.